Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to start with a CorelDraw design on a cover page for a poetry book which I'm going to design, and this is for a poet in Karnataka. It's a commission job. Let's just see how we are going to complete. This is totally for the beginners, so just follow me how I'm going to do it, and also what are the tools I'm going to use it. It would be really helpful for your design career. Now let's start designing. The first and the foremost thing is I'm going to start with create a new document. So in this new document, I'm just going to name it as poem cover page. Okay, so this persist is about what kind of color we are going to use it. So I'm going to use it as a default CMYK because we are going to print this in an offset print or either onto a digital print. So I'm just going to make it as a CMYK. So if people have no idea of what a CMYK stands for, we call this as the cyan, magenta, yellow and black. Like how RGB is for red, green and blue, this is the cyan, magenta, yellow and black. So might be on a different class I would explain you in brief and how would they print that in an offset. I'll help you all in that. So for now I'm just going to explain you how we are going to do this design. Right, and next would be on the page size. So this here it's as a custom, but we are going to take it as an A4 size, and the units in millimeters, either in millimeters or you wanted to convert into centimeters or inches, it's up to you. So for now I'm just going to keep it in millimeters itself. The A4 size page in millimeters is width of 210 mm and the height is 297 mm, and the orientation is onto the portrait. We have a landscape orientation is also, so but I'm going to design this into a portrait, and resolution I have just kept it for 300 dpi dots per inch. Click on OK, it opens up a new page. So in this new page I would require a kind of a small grid wherein which we are going to design it inside that grid. So how we are going to start with. So now in this page you could see we have onto the left hand side is the toolbar, onto the top you could see the menu bar, and there are some shortcuts on top where creating a new document or opening a new document, or either going to open from a Corel Cloud or might be to save into a Corel Cloud. So likewise you have certain other options like cut, copy, paste, all the stuff. So next to that below is called as the property bar, so or property menu. So in this property menu, if I'm not selected anything, it would display the properties of this particular document. So this document is of an A4 size document, and what is the height and width, what is the orientation, whether it's going to be a portrait or landscape, and how the pages we can align it. That is, if you have multiple pages, like for example at the bottom you have page 1, we have only page 1, so you can just keep adding multiple pages. So supposing if you wanted to add multiple pages here, how that pages should be, whether it's going to be all in portrait or all in landscape, or either one in portrait and one in landscape. So this option, the current page option, is like you can have it either in portrait or landscape. So here I have all in portrait. So it also says like what's the unit, whether we have already chosen that it should be in millimeters. Here again, if you require it, you can just go and change it, whether you want it in inches or might be in centimeters and all. We will again go ahead and talk about how many. There are a lot of other units over here. Here you can see that in H, Q, or kilometers and all. So I would really go through this later, but for now we are just going to use this. And the next one here is it's called as the nudge distance. So what is a nudge? It's nothing but, like, for example, if I have a box and I want to move this box onto the right hand side as 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is moved, but it is moved just 1 mm. Okay, so you will only make the difference. For example, if I wanted to move as 1 mm like this, or maybe 5 mm like this, what happens is, see, it moves 5 mm all over. And I wanted to move to the bottom, I want to move to the left, and move on to the top. So through your keyboard arrow keys, it can move up, down, left and right, and to a precise distance of 5 mm. So of course this is going to be used in your latest situation. So for now I'm just given a glimpse over here. And how about this particular area? How about this? So this is nothing but your duplicate distance. For example, I wanted to duplicate certain thing. Like, for example, I have this box over here. So this box is of some dimension, width and height, but I want the same box. So supposing if I'm going to click this and drag this box tool here, that is the rectangle tool here, I can't make this a very precise box as of this dimension. I don't know what is the height and what's the width. And if I wanted to make that, the better way is to go ahead and copy that, right? So instead of copying, I'll just make it as a duplicate. So when I make a duplicate, what happens is this duplicate will place it exactly in the X and Y axis of 5 mm. So X 5 mm and Y 5 mm. Supposing I wanted this to be placed exactly on top of this. That is, I don't want it to move anywhere. What I can do is I can just go and click on these things and change this to 0 and 0. And now if you go and duplicate it, a duplicate has been made, but it is just on above whatever it was. How you could see that? You can just see that. You can just move that to somewhere next to it. You can just see the duplication has happened, right? And if I want to make it one more duplicate, yes, this happens is because when I moved one object from one place to another, he has already taken that movement onto a X and Y axis. So now if I go and do the changes, it will automatically move it like that. But since we have just didn't do another move, it is just placing onto the same distance, that is onto the XY axis. Like, for example, I will just go and make a duplicate. It will just duplicate it as is, that is onto the X and Y axis as 0 and 0. Supposing if you wanted to duplicate it for 10 mm by 10 mm, right, like this, and just go ahead, select an object, just have a duplicate. That is the shortcut for a duplicate is Control D. What happens? See here, once again I'll do it, duplicate, right? Or either come here, duplicate. So it will just go place it into your X and Y axis of 10 mm. Supposing if I'll just go and make it as minus 10 mm, that is in Y axis, what will happen? See, just great. So it gets duplicated over here. So this is an option like how you can make it a duplicate, right? Now in this place, since we have started with we are going to do a poem cover page. So I'm just going to start with a rectangle tool, right? So to create this rectangle tool, what I can do is I can just go click here and click and drag it like this. So supposing if sometime I'm not able to do a precise what is the dimension of that, it's better you just go and double click here. It will bring you it will create a rectangle box, and that is with the same height and the width. See this? As your page, it will create a rectangle box like this. And now I have just moved it out. I wanted to place it back onto the same place where I moved it. I can't go and place it like this, so that there comes your help, your alignments. So your alignments, just let us start with, you just press a button called P. What happens is it goes and aligns to the page. It is called P. Just type P, that's more than enough. It will align it on top. And now I will teach you about other alignments also. So for this particular rectangle, we wanted to make a inner margin of all over 5 mm. So we are going to just leave a marginal space of 5 mm all over, and we are going to reduce this box to 5 mm, so that we are going to design it inside that. And why I'm not going to design it outside that is, sometime if we design it and if it is going for a cutting, and if it gets cut, you place a text and it gets cut, then that would be a kind of a worse scenario. So the client might not accept it. So it's better to place all the text in between this area where leaving all over 5 mm. So it's normal. Normally when we write anything on an A4 paper or might be an A5 paper, you'll try to leave a margin all over. Likewise, I'm just going to leave it here. So now what will we do is just go here to the corner. How I zoomed in, so it's better to use a shortcut called as F2 to zoom in. Click and drag and you'll zoom in, and F3 to zoom out, or either I want to see the entire page, go say F4. So F2, F3 and F4 is the way to play with your zoom in, zoom out and the page view. Great. So I'll repeat, it is F2, F3 and F4. Right. Now how to create all over 5 mm? Click on, hold Ctrl and Shift to create a square from a rectangle to, and now you see here it is 14.85 mm and 14.85 mm. I don't want that, so I want to just make it as 5 mm. So now here you could see a lock ratio. So if I do some changes to your width, automatically your height is going to change. So click on here and say 5. Immediately your height is also changed now. That's great. So now instead of moving with my mouse, I'm just going to select this particular bigger object and say L for left align and T for top align. That's great. So now it is gone on top. Great. Now it's here. And I wanted to pull this grid from here in this area and place it here in this. So instead, I don't know whether I have to place it inside this box or outside this box. For that, what is the better way to do is go to View and a wireframe. The wireframe will give you a skeletal structure of this particular box. So this box, whatever the thickness it is, whatever the thickness it might be, whatever the color it might be, it will just hide all those things and it will give you a skeletal structure, right? So now what you do is go to again to View and say whether you have snapped to an object. Yes, View and snap to an object. So what will happen is, like when I click and drag on my grid, it will just go and it will snap. You no need to go and keep it exactly over there. You just go and leave it there nearby. It will, as a magnetic, it will just go and stick to that particular object. So now it is snapping to the objects. And now when you just press F4, it shows the entire page. What will I do now is just go select. How I select it, just click and drag in that area, or either go and select like this and click on that particular box. So I'm just going clicking and dragging out here, and now I will just select the bigger box and say R for right and B for bottom. So here again I'm going to follow the same rule. Click and drag it here. It will come and snap it here in this area. That's it. Great. So now we have got a proper grid over here, and this is your entire page. So that particular smaller box I no more require it, so I just deleted that. Just select and delete button, it just removes it from the page. Great. Now what happens is, like in this box, how I'm going to place certain images, because the client has asked me to give a lot of images which is relevant to the Karnataka culture and heritage. So they wanted some image of a famous actor, or might be some famous place and some famous dance, or might be a famous poet. All those things they want to mix because it talks about a culture and heritage. So we are going to do that. So for that, what I'm trying to do is, again, just try to create a box, or might be a square. So here I will make it as 50, and what I'm doing is I can just go select this and hold shift. When I hold shift, what happens is it won't move anywhere. It'll be just in that same lane. It's not moving up down. See, I'm trying to force it up down. It's not, and it'll be there in the same place, right? It's in the same line. I'm just holding shift and right click, drag, and do a right click. Click, drag, and a right click makes it duplicate. Okay, or either you can just go and make a duplicate like this, but since we have already made that duplicate over here, okay, now we can try this as well. I'm selecting this object, it has to come down. How's that? Wait, I wanted to move this because this object is 50 mm. I want this to be moved to not 50 mm. Let us move to its minus 60, and the X I'm making it as 0. Let us see what happens. Great, it's moved to certain area over here, but I wanted a small gap like this. Instead, what you can do is like make it as, instead of minus 60, I'm just making minus 55. Just give 55 mm, right? Control D. Wow, that's great. And again, so Control D. That's great. And now if I wanted to onto the right hand side, what will I do? I'll make this as 0. Onto the x-axis, I'll make it as 55. What happens? I'll just go here, Control D. Control D. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That shouldn't happen for us. How is that? Okay. Now we will just change this to 0. Okay. That is y-axis. I have changed to 0. Earlier we have moved to the y-axis, and now I'm moving towards the x-axis. Right. So now you go and say Control D. It moves. So earlier I tried to move it to the bottom. Now I'm trying to do it onto the right. So now see, yes, everything is perfect. And now I'll just go select all these, and before that I'll just go change it to X, because it's moving on to the right hand side and this is moving to the bottom. I've just made it as minus 55. Right, I think, hope you understand. So that's the way the x-axis and y-axis work. So when you have a, see, now if you see, like, this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis and this point is 0. Supposing if you wanted to move up, what happens is, from here, this is all the positive area of y-axis and this is your negative area of your x-axis. So when I wanted to move it down from 0, so all these becomes your negative area. So that's the reason I'm giving it as minus 55, and moving to the right, and this is the positive area, so I'm just giving plus 55. So likewise, now I'll just go Control D and Control D. That is because it is coming to the opposite side of your x-axis. Great. So now after doing this, I'm just going selecting. So see here, if you just select once, it will have this kind of, that is, you can move or you can resize it. This option appears. Just click once again. That is, it's more or less like a double click. Okay, select all and make one more click, not double click, one more click. See that it changes to a rotating arrow, right? So now what you do is hold shift and just rotate it, or either I will just go change it here 90, but not 90, I'll make this 45. Yes, because I wanted this to be perfect like this in this area, so I'm just making it as 45, right? Yeah, 45. Now what I'm going to do is, I have this square box here, right? Just go select this, and now right click here, right click on all these boxes, and you have something called as power clip inside. What will this happen? Click on this and see this arrows now changed. I want to just go and click on this. What happens? It is now escaped, right? No, nothing has happened. We have to just go and click on this, change this wireframe to enhanced mode. See, now you'll be able to see this, right? How to edit this? Just go double click it. Yes, now you can see that we are now inside the bigger box, that A4 box is there, right? We are inside that, so we will not be able to do anything on this. We will not be able to do anything on this, but you can go ahead and select only something is there inside this container. So inside that A4 box, we have just bought all these small boxes here. Now I'll go and I'll try to place this in such a way that it is beautified. Yes, now like this. Okay, I want certain, I'm just going to use only certain boxes. I'm going to remove rest of this. So 2 on top, or 3 on top and 2 at the bottom like this. I'm just going to move it. And what will I do is I'll again go and make some color for this. Okay, now while making a color or selecting and filling this color, if you have a left click, normally we do that, a left click. The same thing, if I wanted to fill the color of the outline, you have to just go and do a right click. A right click will fill the color of the outline, left click will fill the color of the inner. So now if I don't want a color of the outline, I can just go to this place, into the right hand side you have the top one, that is a none. So if you click on a left or a right, it will just fill as none, so there will be no color at all. So I don't want any color for the line, so I'm just clicking on a right click, so that's gone. Great. Now I will just try to insert or import. Go to file and import, and directly get into a folder. So I'm just going to pick some images here. What I'm going to do is I'll pick some images of a poet, of a king, earlier king called the Pulikeshi, and some workplace, some culture, and one actor, and there's another workplace here, all these things, right? And just go click import, and so once I clicked all, everything is now bought in here. So in this I have all these images here, so I can just go click it like this. It will open up into a bigger image, or either what I can do is I can just go click and drag it like this, smaller. Click and drag, it will give you a small images. So sometimes if it is bigger than this A4, so you have to go unnecessarily click, drag, and you have to reduce it like this. So instead we will drag it here itself. Now I have these many images. What I will do is I again want to go and place this inside this box, but we will have a question. So if I wanted to edit this and make this into this kind of a box here onto this diamond shape, how I'm going to do is the same option which we used as the power clip option here, or either in a traditional manner we will take this to Photoshop, we will crop it and then bring it. So the best tool is the power clip, or might be in Illustrator or InDesign or in Photoshop we have an option called as masking. The same we are going to do it here. Just go click on this and right click it, and you can just go select this power clip inside, and this arrow appears. You just go and click on which object you wanted to fit that in. Click on this, it goes inside. Okay, now this face has become bigger and some areas has got cut. How I'm going to manage this? Double click it, see that there is an outline for that, and now I'm just going to proportionately reduce all the height and the width. Okay, now hold shift and moving it towards this. Yes, great. And now you click on the finish. Yeah, that's there. Okay, you got an output. Likewise, I'll just go click on the power clip, put it here, click on this power clip, put it here in this area, click on this power clip, put it in this, and click on to the poet, power clip, and here, and to this image on the fisherman's image, power clip, and put it over here, right? And this one, let it be onto the same color, might be, or else I'll just change the color. So here you could see that this particular, I'll just use a zoom here, zoom in and work, that's good. So this portion on top and bottom, it's not fitted properly. Just go double click it, and what happens, it opens up into another frame or another layer. So now I'm just going to use my shift and click and drag onto the corner. Don't try to do it like this, or might be like this. You won't have a control. Other than that, if you try to do it from a corner, that's called as a proportionately increase and decrease. So now I'm just going to place it like this and say finish. Likewise, just go click it here. So I want this fisherman to be visible more. Finish. And here we have something at the bottom. I want to just remove that. Instead, I'll just go increase this and just bring it down. See that? Wow, that's gone. So only the visible will be displayed. Likewise to the poet, right? And let's move it to the right like this and bring it like this. Okay, fine, it will be visible. And this one I'm just not going to do any coloring for it. I'm just going to leave it as is, right? Okay, now I'll just go click on the finish again. It's all inside this A4 size. Click this, and I wanted to fill this with another color like this. Okay, might be as a green, because they told that they wanted as a green, but still we will find like what is the exact color combination for this particular green. And on top I want it darker, and the bottom I want it to be a little bit lighter, right? So for that, what will I do is again just go inside this and try to create. This is another tool called the freehand tool. Now I'm going to use the freehand tool here. So what will I do? Just go select and move it to the corners. Say I'm not going to use any other tool, only this tool. So if you click one and if you just click onto an end, what happens is just one line is created into a 45-degree, one line is created. But I don't want it like this. I wanted to continue this and make this as a polygon. That is this shape. I have to bring it here. How will I do? Just go and click on the node again, one click, and just go like this and make double click here. It continues. Double click, continues. Double click. Oh no. Okay, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Again, go double click, hold shift, again one more click, say double click, and then fill this. So if you don't fill it, then that shape will not, you can't fill it with a color. In the sense like it is more or less like an open space. So you can't fill any color because there is a leak there. So for that you have to create this box, or like this, like for example like this, double click it, double click it, double click. Oh sorry, double click, double click, double click. See this? Click, double click, double click, double click, and a double click like this, right? And now if you go select any color, it will. For example, if you just go remove this, we can just actually remove this. How like I just remove this, see this? Now I have something like this. What happens? This particular portion is not filled properly, but I can go select this node and bring and leave it here. See, automatically it fills. This is the way the object works. So I don't want this now. I'm just going to remove this. Now this portion, for an example, I've give you that. So now what I'm doing is I'll just move this to the bottom like this. Just one arrow. So already we have made it to 5 mm. So it is moving to 5 mm. I'll just go select another color like this. Great. And I will just remove this outline also. Just go and give on a right click over here and say finish. Wow, it's now, see, like this it is. Great. And now we are going to give some text and we are going to finish this. Great. So what they want the text is, I'm just going to type it in English because they have given a Kannada word. I don't have the font now. I'm going to do that later. For now, I'm just going to add an English text, that is NAMMA, Namma, NADU, Namma, Nadu, and NAMMA, then HEMA. It's called Hemme, right? Hemme. So that's what they do it. It's nothing but our country, our pride. And that one, I'll just go make another duplicate and put it here and just make it as our country, our pride. Great. So all these things I'm going to select to a font called Black Sword. Click on that, made it as a black sword. And this Namma Nadu and Namma Hemme that I wanted to make it bigger, I can just go hold it like this and click on the corner to make it bigger. Either you can go and change the font, or either you can just do it like this. Hold it to the corner. As I told you at the beginning, don't hold it into the bottom or to the left or to the right. You just, anything you want to increase or reduce, try to use a proportionate scale, right? So now I did this, but it's not fitting here properly. I'm just going to reduce the size a bit like this. And now what I'm going to do is, I have another shape tool over here. I want to just reduce the in-between space here. So you can just go click and drag it like this. See this? Yeah, the in-between space is gone now. Okay, and I'm just going to split this into 4 like this. Great. And I'm trying to take it here. So this is, the placement is also not that great. So I'm just going to use the space bar and try to, yeah, like this. And again, a little bit smaller. Great. And I will change the color to white. Yeah. And this pride, I wanted to make it a center. Hold this area and C for center. And I wanted to give another line in this area. So I just created another line here and select, drag and right click to get a line over there. Now select all these things and click on E to align it vertically, or sorry, align it horizontally. And again, I'm just going to click on this freehand tool and click and drag to this area, right? So this right hand side over here, I'm going to give the composer's name. So the person who have composed this entire book, I'm just going to give a name to this. COMPOSED by, right? And say some doctor. Say now, I'm just using Sakuntala L. Poet. Shishu Foundation. Foundation. Yeah. Ignore. I'm just going to ignore this, right? Okay, now See this is like this. It's really big. I don't want that. So let us go make it a little bit smaller. I'm just using a font like this called Oren Pro and not 24. I can just go and reduce it here as well like this. And since this is onto where you cannot do anything over here in this area, I want to do some alignment onto the right, so I can't always keep on the space bars. I should make it something really professional, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just going to right click this and convert this to a paragraph text. That's possible in, like, we have normal text and we have paragraph text, so that's possible in Corel. So I'm just going to extend this to this here and extend this to here. And what I'm going to do is I'll just go select the alphabetic. See here, when I select this automatically on top, you might have seen this in your MS Word or something like that. So I'm just going to select this and go give a spacing from here to here. How will that work? Now just go on front of this text, hit tab, just one tab, that's more than enough. Yes, yeah, this space has come here, but now, yeah, right, you will get this. And moreover, this is 17 points. I don't want that much. We will just reduce to 14 points here and this. And this space also, I don't want this much. Now that is where you can just go do all your changes over in this. Now see this, moving your left alignment here. Yeah, that's done. Yeah, and do it here. I'll just go reduce this size of this and just go select this and try to, yeah. Now if at all we have a Kannada text, we can just place it over here. So now I'm just going to hit F9. Yeah, it will give you a full screen view. Yeah, this is what is a design which I have, or I wanted to make it. What will I do now is I just go here and this, select all these boxes here and try to give an outline for that. So the outline which I'm giving it into white, and the thickness of that is I'm just giving 1 point. Right, now you go and see that. Or either I wanted to make it a little more bigger. Select all, outline to 3 points. Right, 3 points, done. Now you go and finish it and see, yes. So now this is what I wanted. Great. Just again press F9, you will see the entire page. So this is the design. It's a kind of a basic design, but if it will be really helpful for the beginners. So good luck. See you on my next video. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.